What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some Expedition 33. And guys, I'm going to give you my takes on it, having just finally beat it in the game. And I'm going to say this right now. Wow. Just wow. I mean, with all the glowing reviews and the sales, selling 1 million copies in 3 days, and me being extremely stoked for this game when it finally came out, and being an indie developed title with a cast of 30-some people, what they accomplished in this game is nothing short of remarkable, and maybe possibly an industry-changing game, because there are so many things that seem impossible in what this game is able to pull off with the amount of people behind the project. But when you have a passion project that's made with not a lot of interference from people above, and let people, as they say, cook and let them do what they want to do, you'd be amazed by how many things developers can accomplish in this game, and nothing short of that. It's absolutely remarkable. So I'm going to go into this game and what really just made me sink my teeth in it and just get completely absorbed in it. I'm not going to have any spoilers, so if you haven't played or beaten the game yet, I'm going to keep them out as much as possible because I want people to go in there and enjoy it. But so I'll start off with the story, and the story is it's one of those tales where long after you've beaten the game, you'll be thinking about it as the credits roll down. You'll be long thinking about it, trying to process it, trying to absorb it. I think the main theme I can really identify with this game, if there's one word I could say, is grief. This game does a really good job exploring grief and how people process grief, how people go through things differently. And I think that's an extremely relatable thing in our lives, because I think we all can go through moments like that. We don't need a fictitious world like this game to show us how we process grief. Different people process grief different ways, and sometimes grieving can be dangerous to the people around us, even if we're not fully aware of it. And sometimes you need to do things that may not be the best thing for everyone at that moment, but you need that release from the pain, where some people want to go through the other path and prolong things, and because they can't get over their grief. So kind of more logic versus emotion, but either way, a very, very endearing tale. One that I think will be remembered and discussed for many, many years to come, as this game does an amazing job of exploring grief and the stages through it and how people go through that whole process. And I think this game does a wonderful job. I'm not going to say anything more about the story, because I want people to have the opportunity to play. If they haven't played for the first time, go in there, not spoiled or ruined of anything, and enjoy it for the first time, and maybe come back and have interesting discussions, because I think this game is definitely going to be discussed for a very, very long time. But the story is top tier. I definitely enjoyed it, and I was extremely invested in it from beginning to end, no questions asked. But now let's get to the rest of the game. For one thing, this game is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous to look at, whether in the remnants of a town destroyed, or just out in the open, or in the caverns. No matter where you are, it's absolutely phenomenal to look at all the broken islands shattered in the air, the glowing luminescent effects of the sky, the flowers, the enemies. It's one of those games where it's a visual treat for the eyes to look at. You just sometimes get so absorbed just looking at your surroundings going, wow. Like, it's such a depressing world, but yet it's such a lively and colorful world at the same time too. It definitely has that artistic wink wink behind it, in terms of just having a vision, I guess kind of like a painter in a way, showcasing what kind of world this really is. And I think the developers did a great job of showing that variety in this type of world. There's so many different types of areas. I mean, as I said, you got the sea, you got the forest, you got destroyed, remnants of towns. You got so many things you can go towards in terms of environments, and they did a great job of just having this world seem like a really interesting world to navigate and explore in. But let's get into the combat, and oh my god, the combat. Holy shit, is the combat so good. It is so addicting. Now, for me personally, I love turn-based combat. I also like action combat too. It doesn't defer me either way, but I definitely do like a lot of turn-based. But if you're somebody who's kind of like, turn-based is not my thing. Please give this game an opportunity and a chance, because I'll put it to you this way. If you don't like turn-based out of this game, then I guess you're just never going to like turn-based, period. But this is turn-based done really fun. As I said, you have multiple abilities. Every character's kind of got their own gimmick thing they do. And you have so many synergies you can combine. But the real fun is when the enemies start attacking you outside of your own abilities, is that you have these button inputs you put to make damage more amplified, as well as ways you got to dodge the opponents. You know, whether you got to jump and dodge, or parry, or actually physically roll out of the way. You know, you have so many options, and you got to get good at this, because a lot of the enemies, as the longer you go through this game, they get tougher and tougher. But nothing is more satisfying than be able to parry an enemy that hits you so many times and then send it right back at him. So this game has a lot of variety, but you're never bored. And I think that's the key component here. You're never bored in this turn-based. I'm not implying that turn-based is boring, because I love turn-based, but a lot of people, they don't just want to press a button and then the character does something. No, you are fully interacting with this combat system. Whether you're physically dodging, trying to master the opponent's movements. Because trust me, they do that kind of drunk boxing move where you think they're about to attack you, but they kind of delay, and then they get real fast and they change it up, and you really, really got to get good to it. But it's such a satisfying feeling when you do pull off one of these things really, really well. So I do love the satisfaction of the combat. And like with any one of these games, you obviously have ways to increase your weapons, as well as other things on your character, as well as like your ability to have more abilities unlocked. And there's a lot of combinations you can do in this game, guys. I mean, I'm just kind of slowly starting out in a new game plus right now, but there are so many combinations of things you can combine in terms of your abilities you learn, you equip the other characters, and your attributes you use. And you can also reset your attributes in case you did something really wrong. But there's a lot of combinations, and that's the real fun part in terms of the combat, is you can really have an insanely overpowered build if you know exactly what you're doing. But I always like to say, experiment things and try out things where you kind of look up something online, because the thing about this game is that there's so many like things you unlock, so many things you can explore. There's a lot to do outside just the main story of this game, as well as, you know, your outfits and your haircuts. You can find a lot of different outfit cosmetic options you have in this game. There's a lot of things you can do. You can look cool in terms of your abilities and your physical look. There's a lot to offer in this game. And I think that's the fun part of this game, when you combine the combat, the satisfaction and addictiveness of it, and then getting more abilities, getting more powerful, leveling up, you know, finding more things and passing those abilities on to your cast, and getting good at the parrying and the countering, and, you know, using your own abilities depending on which character you're using. It's really such a satisfying system they got in place. And honestly, I think you're going to see a lot of other games try to use this as a blueprint in the future. And that's something that I have no problem with, because as I said before, you know, it is a copycat league, and when something is successful and good, obviously you're going to see a lot of people do it. So, and I have no problem with that, because this is definitely one of the most satisfying combat systems I've played in a while. Another thing I was really happy to see, just from an old school JRPG fan, is seeing the world map come back. You know, nothing screams me as a kid playing the old PS1 and just running around like the map of like Final Fantasy 7 or something like that, and seeing the world map, or any JRPG game for that matter, like Star Ocean or something. But it's just something that I guess maybe I'm just a product of my era, maybe newer fans won't understand, but just seeing this, you don't see it too often, and seeing it like this and seeing it come back and seeing it look as good as this does in this game is just a treat for the eyes for me personally. But now let's talk about the characters, because as I said before, you can have an endearing story, but if you don't have the characters that come around with the story, then you just don't care. And I think what I love about this game is I'm fully invested in every single one of the characters. There's not one bad character that was kind of like, they're just there. Kind of like what you sometimes have in a lot of these party type games or JRPGs, but every single character pulls their own weight. They have a unique system of combat, but they have an interesting personality, and you get to learn more of them as you spend time at a camp. You level up your relationships with them. You learn more about their own past and their own goals and how they act, even having some funny moments, because that's one thing I do like about this game. It's a very depressing world they're in, and it's a very sad, somber game, But it doesn't stop the fact from having a lot of these endearing, very heartwarming moments, even funny moments, and you really have a good time with this cast. And when something joyous happens, you feel good with them. And when something heartbreaking happens, it pulls at your heartstrings. And trust me, this game will pull at your heartstrings, and these characters fully emphasize that. And I like how they're all different, but they all kind of mesh together. And if you ask me personally, who is my personal favorite character, a little fun fact about me, if I really love a game like this so much, I probably don't have a favorite character, because it's kind of like I like them all, and I can't kind of see it going forward without one, because if I'm missing one, then it just takes the effect away. It's kind of similar to like in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, another game I deeply love, where I love the main six so much. If you take one away from the whole team, it's like you just took the whole team away. You got to have them all, and that's how I feel about this cast. They're inseparable, and I love every single one of them. There's a lot to do in this game. This is a complete game in every single way. It's not shortchanging you. But if I were to say one negative thing, probably the worst thing I could say about this game, and I think this is something that could be changed with an update, is I wish there was a mini-map. That's the only thing I could say that I didn't like, is I wish there was a mini-map when you're in the levels of the game. That's it. That's the worst thing I could say. So if that's the worst thing I could say, then damn, this is a pretty solid game. But I'm just absolutely blown away by how good it is. I mean, it's phenomenal. And ironically enough, as great as the reviews are for this game, I don't know if it fully does it justice. I mean, this is one of those games that I think has real potential to change the industry in terms of just how we let developers make the game that they ultimately want to make without having a bunch of people get in the way of that and impede progress. And when you do that, you'll have a game like this exist. Because had this been a game made with its aesthetic and stuff, with maybe like a big time studio, it probably would have been changed so differently by the time it got to the end, if it even got made in the first place, that it wouldn't even look like the final product you see now. So maybe let developers cook in the future more, and you'll realize how much of a satisfaction or a game you can have. Overall, I highly recommend this title. This is going to be a tough title for any game this year to beat in terms of my personal enjoyment, because even after beating the game, I'm just sitting there just contemplating, thinking about stuff, analyzing stuff even in my own life and stuff, and just thinking, damn, like this hits really deep. It's got an amazing story, endearing characters, one of the most satisfaction combat systems I've seen in a while. And even the notion that, hey, they might possibly get DLC, because I heard there's a good chance of that too. So what is there not to like? And it's not even a full price game. So I also want to put in that the music is also amazing in this game. Definitely a treat for the ears. And with these type of games, you got to have a great soundtrack. And this game far exceeds that expectation. But at the end of the day, as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you feel about this game if you have played and beaten it? Do you absolutely love it? Is there maybe a thing or two maybe you would change about it? Do you think this game is going to be an industry-changing game just from the fact that it's not made by a big group, and any developed game looking this good and being this addicting with its endearing story and characters? And do you think it's going to be a game that's discussed for many, many years to come? And also, if you've not used to playing games like this, or maybe you're not a big fan of turn-based, is this going to get you to maybe give it a try for the first time, hearing all the glowing reviews from not just critics but players alike? Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. And if I haven't already gotten the point across, seriously, go out there and play Expedition 33. You definitely will not be disappointed.